Hello, bookworms! Today I have a really big book haul to show you. As you may remember, I did not really post that many videos in August and September, so now with my October book haul, I have maybe 30-ish books to show you, which is so many, so bear with me. It's gonna be like a super enormous haul, obviously, and I will definitely have a lot fewer in November, but I don't even know how I'm gonna do a thumbnail for this because that is just, I need two piles. I can't even have these books in one pile because that is how many of them there are. It's unreal. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get started and show you guys the things that I have because I am anticipating that this will be a very long video. The first book that I picked up, which I actually pre-ordered and I got it, I believe it was August 4th, is Isla and the Happily Ever After by Stephanie Perkins. It's the third book in the Anna and the French Kiss companion series, and I was so happy to finally get my hands on this because I have Anna and Lola both in paperback, so I felt like I needed Isla in paperback, and I love this series. Like, I loved both of the first books in it. I hadn't read the third one because I felt like they needed to be the same, and Anna never came in this like cover in hardcover, so I couldn't even like upgrade and just get all three hardcovers. So the struggles of being a bookworm. But this book follows a girl named Isla, and I believe it takes place in New York City. You can see like the Empire State Building is on the cover of the book. I am mostly excited to read it because I just can't wait to find out what else is going on with Anna and Etienne. I know that people had a lot of mixed feelings about this. There seemed to be a lot of people who either liked it the best of the three, or there are also a lot of people who did not like it at all. So we'll see where I fall on that spectrum, but I really like Stephanie Perkins' writing, so I'm hoping that I'll be on the side of loving it. The next book that I have is a book that I actually picked up as part of the Booktubeathon like discount on Book Depository, and it's Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl by Jessie Andrews. It's now a major motion picture, and unfortunately this isn't a sticker, so I can't even take it off, which really bothers me. But anyway, it's about a girl that's sick. From what I've heard, it's very different than other stories of people suffering with illnesses, and it's actually really funny and humorous. So I think that that sounds like it could be a very interesting read, and I kind of like paged through it a little bit, and it looks like it'll be like a really easy quick read. So I think that I might actually try to save this for like the next Booktubeathon or some different challenge where I'm trying to read like a ton of books in a week. The next two books I also got as part of the Booktubeathon discount, and it is a duology. I have The Pirate's Wish by Cassandra Rose Clarke and The Assassin's Curse by Cassandra Rose Clarke. I actually have no idea which one is the first book and which one is the second book, so I'm gonna need to like look into that before I start reading them. They really just like sound very interesting to me. I can't remember what they're about, which it sounds like ridiculous that that is the case, but I remember seeing a bunch of other people talk about them on BookTube, and I remember from like their reviews, I thought that it sounded really good, and I just love anything with pirates, so I don't necessarily want to like read too much about them. I would prefer to go in and be kind of surprised while I'm figuring out this story, and I really like that it's only 2 books and that I have both of those books already, so I can just binge read the 2 of them and then be done with the series and not have to wait years between the next books. The next book that I have here is Between Us and the Moon by Rebecca Maisel, and this is a contemporary novel, and I know that there's like something involving I don't know why I said evolving. There's something involving some kind of like astronomy, and I know it's like a love story between 2 people. There's a girl that always kind of lived like in her sister's shadow, and then this summer happens and it's kind of like a summer of firsts for her, and she's just like breaking out of that shadow and really like blossoming and becoming her own person. And I really enjoy like coming of age stories and things like that. And obviously there is a cute boy that she meets, and funnily enough his name is Andrew, and my fiance is named Andrew, so I feel like I might be biased and really like the love interest in this, and we'll see what happens. The next book that I have is Making Pretty by Corey Ann Haydu. I actually haven't read any of her books, but I really enjoy following her on Twitter, which sounds like funny that I'm that's like why I'm buying her books. So she just like seems like a really like fun and interesting person, and I always feel like more likely to read someone's books if I enjoy like their online personas. So I am really looking forward to reading this. This is another contemporary novel. It's set in New York City, and it is about a girl who has a father that is a plastic surgeon, and he's constantly like getting divorced, and I guess no one is really like perfect enough for him. So there's this girl that's just constantly struggling with change and just getting used to that, like seeing the unreasonable standards that her father has set, and it's made her insecure about different things. I believe it might be like her summer before college, but I'm not 100% sure about that. But I am really looking forward to reading this. I remember seeing like the blog tour that Corianne Haydu had did for this on a bunch of different book blogs that I read, and she did like a wonderful profile of New York City in a lot of them, and that also got me really excited for it because I love reading about anything that is set in a place where I live, because I love like being able to walk by those things and be like, oh yeah, this happened there, you know? It's just like, I don't know, I just find it to be really fun. The next book that I have is Snow Like Ashes by Sarah Rosh, and this is the first book in the series. The second book, Ice Like Fire, just came out like a week or two ago, but I decided that I wanted to get the first book before I read the second book and bought the second book. So I thought that this looked really interesting. I know that it's a fantasy novel, and there are a lot of like different kingdoms. I believe they might be named after like seasons and then some additional things, because I think there's 8 of them. This book like kind of fell under my radar for some reason. Like I remember kind of seeing it in passing but never being super interested in it. But then once the sequel came out, I just felt like I kept seeing it everywhere, and it just kind of like got me really interested in it, and I was like, I should probably read this, so I decided to pick it up. The next book that I have is Poison Study by Maria V. Snyder, and this is the first book in, I believe it's called the Poison Study trilogy. It's actually a trilogy that inspired the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas, and that is just really appealing to me, obviously, because I love the Throne of Glass series, so I really want to read like what inspired Sarah to write it. I know that there are a lot of similarities between it, but I've heard that it's like different enough that it's its own story, and that it's like really good. So I'm really looking forward to it. I know it is about a girl, so she's about to be executed, and she has the choice of either going through with that, being executed, or becoming an assassin for the king. She goes and she assumes that role, which again sounds similar to Throne of Glass, so I am curious to see like what the differences are, but I've heard like nothing but wonderful things about this book, so I'm really looking forward to reading this one like as soon as possible. The next book that I have is The Dead House by Dawn Kurtagich, and this book just came out this month. I got it because it seemed like a really good Halloween read, and really exciting, me, my friend Melissa, and my friend Cassie, who were in one of my previous videos, which I will also link down below, have decided to impulsively start a book club. We've always wanted to start one. We actually tried to start one like 2 years ago, and the book that we read was so bad that we just never had the book club because all of us hated it, and we were like, we just don't want to talk about this book. So that book just cursed us, and we were like, you know what, we should start again, because Melissa unfortunately moved to Texas, which I'm really sad about because I love her and I miss her. We thought that it would be a really good way for all of us to just stay in touch more and you know, just get to talk about books, which we love. Like, we text about them all the time, but it's really fun to do it in person. So our official book club name is Spines and Wines, because we're going to be drinking wine while we discuss books. And the first book that we are talking about is The Dead House. So I'm not going to go too much into like the synopsis or anything right now, because we're going to be doing a very, very in-depth video about it sometime next week. We are planning on doing a Google Plus Hangout on my channel on November 1st. I don't know the time yet. I will let you know probably on Twitter or something once we decide on what time we're going to be doing it. And you guys can follow along, or you can watch it afterward, and hopefully other people have read this book because it was really interesting and there is like a lot to talk about. So if you haven't read it, you've got a few days, and trust me, you'll finish it that quickly. The next book that I have is one of the prettiest books ever, and that is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. And if you watch BookTube at all, you'll know that everybody in the world has been like eagerly anticipating this book. It takes place in the same world as the Grisha trilogy, which Leigh Bardugo wrote, which I have not read, But from what I've heard, you don't necessarily have to have read the first trilogy in order to enjoy this. And there are a lot of people that I've spoken to who have enjoyed the Grisha trilogy, but weren't like super in love with it like a lot of other people that I know. And they said that they loved this like so much better. So I'm thinking that I might actually start with this instead of the Grisha trilogy. And then if I do really love this, I will go back and read those. I know there will probably be like a few little things that I might miss, but from what I understand, it stands on its own and you don't have to have that backstory. So I'm really looking forward to that. I just can't wait to like have this with me every day because it's so beautiful. I love these end pages. They're all black and gorgeous. The next book that I picked up is Slasher Girls and Monster Boys, and this is by a ton of various authors, a lot of them that I really like, so that's why I was really excited to pick it up. And sometimes it is really fun just to have short stories to choose from in case you don't have as much time to devote to like a full novel. Some of the ones that I'm really looking forward to are the story by Carrie Ryan, who wrote The Daughter of Deep Silence. Yes, I really, really liked that. That was in one of my previous wrap-ups. Kendare Blake, I love her. She wrote Anna Dressed in Blood, which I recently read, and just like that was like my favorite book this month so far. But I'm in the middle of Carry On right now, so there's a good chance that that'll change and it could be my second favorite book. And it also has Marie Lu, so that's exciting. And I have not actually started reading any of these yet, but I have to get on that because it's about to be Halloween, and then the season for horror will be ending for a little bit. And plus I'm getting a little bit burnt out on it because I have read a lot of horror books this month. The first pile is going to be falling soon. Next, I have a book that I am really, really, really looking forward to reading. I'm probably going to read it either in November or December just because it is like a winter book, and it's called Winter Spell, appropriately. It's by Claire Legrand, and I actually heard about this book on Tiffany from About to Read's channel. It just sounds so great to me because it's a standalone and it's fantasy, so it's a retelling of The Nutcracker, which is a story that I really, really love, and it's just very wintry and very Christmassy, which I adore, and I'm so excited that we're finally getting into that season. Even though Halloween is next week, I really start celebrating Christmas in like the end of July, right after my birthday. Like, that is how much I love Christmas, and it's been 28 years now and I still am that way, so I can't foresee that ever changing. This book just looks like really, really good, and I'm like really excited for it. I really hope that it's good. The next book that I have is really cool. It is called A Whole New World, A Twisted Tale by Liz Broswell, and this is actually one of the books that Disney Hyperion put out recently, and it is a fairy tale retelling of Aladdin, in case you couldn't tell. But the twist to it is that it's basically what would have happened if Jafar had found the lamp first instead of Aladdin, which I think is like a really interesting concept, and I'm really looking forward to like reading more about Jafar. I believe it might even be like, you know, you'll just get more insight into his mindset, and I always think it's really interesting to just read like more in depth about villains because I'm just like, why are they like this? I need to know. This is one that I am just really looking forward to getting to. Oh, my camera battery is dying, so I'm gonna hurry up.